Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill, Season 2.
Yep, Campfire Cooking, Season 2, Episode 6. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. We're back for more Anime Night in the Dojo, and well, if any crazy random gypsy woman tells you you're gonna die in a dessert, that's probably what she means. I had to make my third Archer joke of this recording session, just because. But either way, we had a pretty solid episode last week. They conquered the dungeon. Makoto got Calidbog. He got a fancy new bag that, you know, we talked about that a little bit. And, well, they conquered the dungeon. So I assume there's going to be some kind of ramification for this in town. You know what I mean? We talked about that, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Somehow this is being the most interesting show of this season. I don't know how it's happening, but stuff like this happens from time to time, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I think Gachi Yakuta is still the most interesting for me, but this is definitely quite a bit higher than it should be.
Yeah. So, anyway, that kind of stuff being said, we didn't have too much going into this one. I'm sure the one thing I did do during the week was I kind of like skimmed through most of the source material to see if there were like any differences, and something that should be mentioned that was mentioned in the source material was that the team that made it down the farthest before Makoto was Elrond's team, and they made it to like floor 25 or something. I forgot what it was, but it was one of the lower floors. So before that, the thing they did say was like the guild person that was working at the booth for the dungeon said like, oh yeah, Elrond was the one that made it farthest down, and they didn't finish it or attempt to finish it for some stupid reason. I forgot what it was, but it wasn't really that important. But it's something they didn't mention in the show. But there wasn't there haven't been like huge changes from what I saw. There are a couple minor changes here and there, but mostly for the better, or just like kind of trimming some fat kind of deal. Didn't really matter that much. So I just happened to like check out the source material, and I was like, we'll just catch up, see where we're at, and see, just like so we know where we potentially be going, how much pacing is, that kind of thing. So that was something I did when I just like randomly had an afternoon, and you know, this was a shorter series. I looked at it and it was like, it's like, you know, 60 something chapters. You know, it doesn't take that long to read 60 chapters, you know what I mean, a couple hours.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't read all of it, obviously. I stopped where we were at. Like, they beat the dungeon and I stopped. You know, he picked up Calidbog, and then the next frame was something that looked like, or the next panel looked like it was something from what would happen next, so I immediately stopped. It was like a blank room, so I was like, okay, this is probably what's going to happen next, so I stopped. But, yeah. Anyway, I have to do this PSA in every video this week, just so that people know, because, once again, I don't assume that everybody watches all the stuff we put out, so I have to put it everywhere. But, YouTube has opted me in, apparently. I'm sure there are other people who got forcibly opted into this apparent beta test of whatever this is, or it's probably a feature that's just going to be for everybody. Maybe it's a feature for everybody. I don't know. Maybe it just rolled out. I can't find anything on it. But either way, now if you guys want to make comments, you have to be subscribed for at least a day. I can't turn this off. It's part of the publishing sequence for making a video now, and the only thing I'm allowed to change, whether this is a permanent feature or beta feature, however the feature is right now, it was forcibly applied to all my videos. So, yeah, even the ones that came out before, I checked it and it was there. So the only thing I'm allowed to change is the duration that somebody has to be subscribed for, and that is 1 day. It's either 1 day or 1 week. Those are our choices right now. And there's nothing I can't click on the drop down. There is no drop down. It just says subscriber or something, whatever the thing says, and then it gives you a choice on the duration. And I just left it on 1 day because whatever. And the short version, I'll try to keep this short because I kind of like long form explain this in MHA and Gachi Yakuta, but I really don't want to have this damn PSA, you know, go super long. It's to prevent scammers from doing stuff. You know what I mean? Whether it's using the a name similar to the content creator, that kind of thing, or just, you know, the blanket bot accounts that just put a bunch of scam links in people's comment section, that kind of thing. It's probably to combat that. You know what I mean? So it's a decent feature for what it is. I know some people might turn it off because they don't have those problems, or they have mods that deal with those kind of things, obviously. But it just is what it is, and apparently I'm part of this. Like I said, I did check my other channel and my original channel, and I went to just like throw up a random video just to see if it would pop up as an option, and it's not there for that channel. So I can only assume it's one of those things where, you know, I'm sure some of you have been subject to YouTube's random beta testing of features on their player. You know what I mean? When they change something, and instead of asking people if they want to be part of this beta test and see if they want to be part of it, it's just, you know, it's like casting a wide net, and sometimes you get caught in the net and you're forced to deal with a terrible beta test of something on YouTube. And I'm part of that. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad feature. It's fine, but I don't see why we're not allowed to just turn it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, but either way, for now, I don't know how long. You guys have to be subscribed if you want to comment. So that is what it is. I can do nothing about it. I'm just giving people a heads up. And if you are trying to type in other channels or whatever, I know a lot of, I've seen a lot of YouTube metrics, and a lot of people who return to not just my channel, but several others are not subscribed to the channel, but they, you know, you can see the metrics that it's a returning user, and it's just like, if you come back to a channel multiple times, you might as well just subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it doesn't do anything. A lot of people think it forces YouTube to track you or some crazy like tinfoil hat stuff. It's like, it's just like bookmarking a page. It's really, that's all it is. So yeah, I don't know, you can have your algorithm speculation and all that you want, but it's just a bookmark. That's all it really is. So anyway, you guys, so if you guys want to continue to comment, you have to be subscribed for at least a day for the foreseeable future. These things usually last a while, so I don't know. Maybe it'll just stay there. I have no friggin' idea. If anything changes on it, I'll let people know. So that being said, we're going to push some buttons and get going here. So people on Patreon, we'll see you on the other side of the edit for the timer reaction, on YouTube for the discussion and review. So let's go Makoto some stuff. So here goes some. Well, alrighty then. One of the classic you know, stories of, you know, fairy tale wise aside, with, you know, the kids losing their dad and then mom getting sick, you know, it's a pretty big classic thing. You know, we can pretty much gloss over all that at the moment, because that wasn't the true story of this episode. The episode was fine. I liked it for what it was. It's a solid story. You know, a lot of characters go through this kind of thing where they help little kids that need help, whatever. You guys see this? This was the story of the Crunchyroll player and its overlays.
Yeah, no, I was warning you about that earlier, but the fact that, like, Crunchyroll is pulling shit with their freaking subtitles and trying to pinch pennies and just not actually put any sort of freaking quality control into it. And then we have this episode very clearly showcasing that.
Yep. So we didn't get the description on the elixirs, which was kind of a bummer, but they're probably, you know, like Fel pointed out, they're like a cure-all. Okay. And Makoto freaked out, whatever. But it was mostly for stuff like this. Like, there was, like, near the beginning of the episode, we got, like, Makoto's stat sheet for a quarter of a second, and then, like, Sui's for a quarter of a second, and stuff like that. And then this was some of the more egregious stuff, and since it's not that long, I can just let it play, because after you guys, like, right here, if you guys were watching it, you saw it. But then that came up 3 seconds later. It's like, yeah, that's a part of Makoto's character sheet. His two of his skills, fire and earth magic. Yeah. How badly do you have to F up an overlay for it to come out like that? That's supposed to be like bottom part of a box. You know what I mean? So this was insane.
It's missized, out of place, and we don't even see his character sheet till later in the episode. Yeah,
so it's like we don't see his character sheet till he's like when he notices that like online grocery leveled up and he got like his for all intents and purposes, it's like a specialization. So he specialized into desserts, which probably was the best way to go because of all the goddesses that mostly want sweets and stuff like that. Because there wasn't like an alcohol option.
Yeah, and presumably it seems like he still has all the base functions. He just gained an extended dessert menu.
Yeah, so that was neat. And per the title of the episode, that kind of thing. But if you guys are watching this later, like as I mentioned at the end of the reaction there, we're recording this on November 30th, so 11/30/25. So maybe it'll be different in the future. So we'll have like this, thing of just like looking at it in the first like week or two that it's up. This even being up for more than a day is like, to me, is unacceptable for QA. I'm just saying. Let's take a look at when this released, okay? So this released on, the dub released on November 11th. So it's already been almost 20 days. 3 weeks that this has been allowed to be like that, okay? But to be fair, a little bit. A lot of Crunchyroll's subtitles or overlays like this, for the dubs, do not get put up immediately, okay? So this might have only been a thing for a couple days now, maybe like a week or so. But still, this, I've seen some errors.
Yeah.
Overlays. But this was bad. I mean, there were 7 or 8 instances of in the episode, like we can go a little bit past, like after he says goodbye to the kids. I mean, look at this. Over Makoto's face, we've got, that's just the Japanese brand of delicious soy sauce with fish stock, and then how much it costs, and 2 copper coins. And I don't even remember him buying any of that. You know what I mean? So this is like not even part of this episode. He mentions a couple things that he bought from the online grocery, like the teriyaki sauce that he put in the burger stuff and whatnot. But this was not even the episode. We didn't see anything like that when he was buying stuff. You know what I mean? It was just the dessert menu, Yeah,
the only thing I could think of is the fish stock might have been part of the soup. But yeah.
Yeah, because when he went to prepare the burgers and stuff, he didn't buy anything. And then he had Sui do the thing, which was cool. Sui doing the thing. He has that profession, so they were able to do that. But I don't remember him buying anything. Maybe it was this right here, like this thing, this stock that he mentioned. But I thought it was milk or something. So yeah, it was.
No, that was soy milk.
Yeah, that was soy milk. So yeah, I don't know. Like that overlay made no sense just at all, because he wasn't really looking at online grocery until he made his like specialization thing there at the end. You know what I mean? So that's even more egregious. So that it was just a lot of like random just nonsense. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was impressively bad. Maybe by the time you guys watch this, or if you're watching from the future at some point, it's fixed or whatever. But this is what
if they're watching from the future, then there might not be an overlay at all.
Yeah, there might not be an overlay at all. So generally speaking, it's been fine for this show. It's been within a quarter of a second, half a second of whatever is supposed to be there. Obviously, it's not going to be instantaneous because it's like an overlay and they have to wait for it to show up on screen. But it was just it was just one of those things where yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? You gotta question, like, maybe it was this stuff right here, the stuff they were drinking after their bath. I don't know. Maybe it was that.
According to Makoto, it was coffee milk.
Yeah, that was coffee milk, so it wasn't even that. So I'm just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt over here. Not that I want to really defend Crunchyroll at all for the crap that they pull on a daily basis almost these days, but damn, just 4 on Simmons, damn, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they kind of glossed over the whole they beat the dungeon thing, and we didn't get like any more on that outside of Elrond freaking out. You know what I mean? As I mentioned, I stopped. Them walking out, like I didn't see that. Like they walked into an empty room, and I was like, well, okay. So the empty room they walked into was probably like the dungeon exit here forming, and that was the last thing I read. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm keeping it anime only. I'm probably just gonna read the source material for reference at this point as we get through the season. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But
yeah,
I thought they would have a little bit more with the dungeon report and stuff like that. But it was what it was.
we'll probably next episode get at least some more on the fact that Dora-chan soloed the dungeon.
Yeah, remember Dora-chan soloed the dungeon. Yeah. Michael Jordan won all his championships by himself with no help. That kind of thing. You know what I mean? Bill Belichick won all those Super Bowls by himself as a coach, with nobody on the field. Shohei Ohtani just won these 2 World Series by himself. Nobody else. He played all the positions by himself. So yeah, that was pretty good for comedy. Dora's in on the bathing stuff again, where we got to go back to that joke. That was funny. But once again, we got the classic, save little kids in a precarious family situation. A lot of fantasy has these kind of situations where kids are in a situation like this and it's a bummer, and they're on the verge of potentially losing both of their parents and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a fair...
the bathing thing. It's the stereotype of dogs hate bathing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, this was fairly classic. It was well done. There's not really a huge amount to say about it. I like what they did with these 2 characters, and it was cool that at the end of the episode, Daryl was like, yeah, Uncle totally gave us a massive deal, and I'm gonna have to pay him back. Makoto over here underestimating kids that are, smart enough to try to make some sort of business transaction with a freaking orc. You know what I mean?
Yeah, plus, one thing, he has an item box, which is it's a very rare skill and something that means he'd have to be fairly competent to even have gotten already.
Right. So he's not the ordinary kid, but either way, got a little bit more insight into the magic, I guess. Whatever her illness was had to have been a pretty serious deal. So obviously it's not going to be a problem for Makoto, because Sui is the everything slime. You know what I mean? So the crafter extraordinaire. So don't have to really worry about that. But
well, right now Sui is capable of doing blacksmithing and healing potions.
Yeah. So either way, solid episode for what it was. Now we have 2 uncles in the show. Got to make the joke about becoming a stepdad. It's that's another one of those tropes of, oh man, you saved my life. You totally want to be my new husband, right? Didn't get that one. I don't know if Makoto will ever have a love interest. It was still kind of fun to make that joke. So was what it was. But other than that, it's solid use of that trope and stuff like that for that thing. And he got his level up, that kind of deal. So it'll be interesting to see if it has any ramifications of not really ramifications, but just how far can he take online grocery? You know what I mean? Now that he has that specialization, it's okay, so it leveled up once, then what? Or is this just the classic D&D online grocery +1 and that's it? You know what I mean? It got its specialization, that it's over. Your dessert specialized, get bent.
Well, in D&D, multi-classing is a thing, and advanced classes, you can have any number of them as long as you meet all the requirements for them.
Right. So we'll just have to see where it goes from there. But even with these overlays being what they are, this right here, this is just part of the show. This box is just part of the show and Sui's stat sheet. Okay, so that's just part of the show. Anything that would be in English would be an overlay. It would have Sui's name, how old they are, the race, which should be giant slime, that kind of thing. But when Makoto was going off about how much they all leveled up in the dungeon, it's well, Fel leveling up is kind of surprising because that dungeon was pretty much beneath him until the final boss for the most part. Maybe the Basque would give him some XP, that kind of thing, an S-rank monster. Sui quadrupling his level. Unsurprising. I mean, he beat a lot of higher level stuff than them. So, you know, they're the ones that is going to level up the most in that kind of situation. You know, Dora getting like 30-something levels makes sense. He's not as high level as Fel, so experience is what it is. You know, how much you actually did in the dungeon, that kind of thing. The quality of monsters you defeated, that kind of thing. And apparently Makoto is not like Naofumi from Shield Hero and does not get any of the XP from his familiars.
So yeah, that and in that's like a specific thing to the whole like slave press thing of like that you leech experience off of your slaves as part of like the way that friggin' magic system works.
Right. So Makoto, I think, dude, you're just gonna need to start getting at least some killing blows on some stuff. Or at least putting the classic get your tag in, you know, like Moonfire spam something, you know, get your tag in, whatever. Just hit something with Stone Bullet and you'll probably get some XP, right? if that's what you're looking to do. The classic tag it and get as much XP as the person who did all the work kind of deal. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see if they dive into that anymore. But, you know, I mean, for the amount of time that he's been around in this world, I mean, I wouldn't say level 20 is terrible, I guess. But we know where the upper echelons are. But it's not like he's out there trying to be a adventurer. You know what I mean? Like a normal adventurer. So level 20 based on everything that he's done, that's probably pretty decent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, once again, he's trying to be more of a merchant. He's only got the adventurer license because of it helps him get into places and the fact that freaking he has all these familiars.
Yep. So either way, reasonable enough episode for what it was. The Crunchyroll overlay stuff, holy crap. That one was good. My eyes are watering from laughing about that one. That was just that was a whole new level of pathetic. So either way, the gods are angry. They're probably gonna get on him again. That kind of deal. I don't think we got how long they were actually in the dungeon. I don't think it was more than a couple days though. You know what I mean? They showed them going to sleep twice. You know what I mean? So
yeah, from what we saw,
we know of 3 days. We know of 3 days. We had a bunch of montages, but they were kind of powering through it. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, once again, we saw 3 days, but we don't know how long they actually were down there.
Yep. So we could probably conservatively say maybe a week, something like that, because we don't really know how big all those floors were, that kind of deal. That was something they didn't really cover in the source material either. It was just kind of like the montage, like, we're cruising through floors, no problem. That was the other thing that they did in the source material was, you know, when they hit the gas trap mimic, Makoto in the source material decides that he doesn't want anybody else to get gassed, so they go around the floor and disarmed all the gas traps. So that was something that they didn't do for the anime, which didn't really matter, but I just wanted to mention it because they became known as like the bomb defusal squad or something. That was weird. Also, that shot of Fel that I sent to Age, like when they were doing the hair care products for that merchant's wife, they did like a poster, like a Fabio poster, but it was Fel, and it's like a fur was all like smooth and wavy, and it was like Fenrir, you know, and it was like the name brand. It's like it's freaking hilarious. You could hear the ad without hearing it. You know what I mean? You have like Terry Crews or John Cena or whoever is the narrator, and it's just like, you know, Fenrir, and then your atypical whatever your tagline for your beauty product is. I don't know. I haven't actually seen a beauty product have a tagline in a while, but I know they still do it for like those kind of posters. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's like the ad that you can hear. Yeah. So that was kind of funny. I kind of wish they had put that in the show. But other than that, there's not a huge amount to like say about differences. So either way, solid enough episode. I can't wait for Elrond to freak out more. Other people to freak out that the dungeon's been beat. That should be fun. You know what I mean? And as I mentioned earlier, we'll probably have, like, when the Guildmaster in Dolan was showing Makoto on the map, like, how to get to the coast, he laid it out. You know what I mean? It's like, then you'll hit the, or it wasn't Dolan. Dolan is the town they're in, the dungeon.
Yeah, Dolan's where they're in.
Whatever the previous town, the textile town that the dwarf was from, Dwarf Guildmaster, he, like, laid it out. And it's like, you get to Dolan, then you get to this next town, and then you'll hit the coast town. So I assume that'll probably be the course of the rest of this season. Is we'll probably get that, whatever that town in between Dolan and the coast is, as like a one-off episode, kind of like the textile town, and then we'll hit the seaside town. Is, you know, it's in the OP. You know what I mean? So, but either way, solid enough episode. The Crunchyroll stuff made it hilarious for me. You know. So you saw it here. You know, maybe in the future it's not like that, but man, we had an experience on November 30th of 2025.
In the future, it will hopefully be fixed, but there's a reasonable chance that it just won't even be there anymore because Crunchyroll's pulling a shtick and trying to get rid of overlays entirely.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, man. It's just... Well, we could have a whole video about that kind of stuff adjacent. You know what I mean? So, I don't really want to go off on that. So, anyway, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond whoever you're watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo from our anime night in the dojo. And this was Campfire Cooking, Season 2, Episode 6. We're halfway there, and man, it feels like we've already got more than a full season worth of content. So I'm good with whatever the rest of this is going to be. I'm all in on Elrond freaking out some more, though. So, everybody, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.